Hello, everybody, and welcome back to That Real Texas Team podcast, episode 38. We're reacting to the 23-20 win over the Buffalo Bills, who traveled to Houston this week. With me, as always, my main man, Mike, over at Mass 3 Productions on YouTube and all across social medias. Please go give him a like, a subscribe, and a notification bell so when he posts something, you know when it's coming out. And while you're clicking things, go ahead and do that. Same thing for here. We're at 189 subscribers at the time of this recording, and I'd like to see that number hit 200 by the end of next week. So the next reaction pod, I'd love to see us at 200. I'd like to catch those boys over there on third and teal, and change up who's leading the pack here for the CPN family. You can also find all of the podcasts under the CPN banner on Spotify, Google, I believe pretty much everywhere. I'm pretty sure Apple Podcasts. I can't remember exactly, but if you've got it, we're pretty much there. So check that out if you're more of an audio only person. And I didn't really ask you, but would you want to go live for the preview next week?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. Well, then look, y'all heard it here first. We're going live for the preview against
Who are we playing?
New England. It's an away game in New England. Exactly. There's no Tom Brady up there. There's no Bill Belichick. They got beat by the quarterbackless Dolphins today. I mean, come on. We got this.
It must be hard to be a Patriots fan right now.
I think it has to be. From what you experienced to where you're at now is you hate life. But yeah, let's get into it. So 23-20 win over the Buffalo Bills. Couple injuries from this game early on in the first half. Jimmy Ward goes in to make a tackle, comes up lame. Was it a concussion we're thinking? I don't remember what they said.
Concussion or a stinger, because he did come back after. He came back after it for a little bit during the third quarter, and literally, I know I joke about it, and it's not bad, but if you hit Jimmy Ward with a cotton ball, he's going to get hurt. Yeah. That's what I'm starting to feel, because the hit wasn't even that major of a hit. If they'd have said a concussion, I'd have been like, okay, right. But just to even put it in perspective, Josh Allen came back on the field after what I know had to been a damn concussion. His head bounced off that turf so damn hard. And I was like, okay, so here comes Mitch Trubisky. We were all damn near getting ready to sit down because we knew no more. Then Josh Allen trots his big ass back out there to play quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, star wide receiver Nico Collins pulls a hammy today. Didn't stop him initially from having a long 66-yard touchdown pass from CJ, which was beautiful, and helped the Texans get a win in that H-Town blue uniform. So 1-0 in the new uni. That's hype. For me, though, I find a lot of issue if Nico Collins' injury is he's out for a couple weeks. I don't necessarily think it'll be a huge problem against New England, but I could see it being a big problem coming down the stretch here as we've got Green Bay after that, and then potentially a Joe Flacco-led Indianapolis Colts team. And that one's home. So
Joe Flacco,
Nico's not able to go the next couple. Could get real interesting, especially considering we haven't been able to find a way to get Tank Dell operating like he was last year. They're trying to find ways to get him involved and get him touches, but it's just not what it was last year. I don't know what's going on with that, but before we get into the defense this evening, I wanted to talk about Blake Fisher. For most of the game, I didn't hear his name. I didn't see a lot of glaring issues. I'm sure he made a lot of rookie mistakes, as rookies do in their first start. But that's a pretty amicable start to a career, honestly. The strip sack at the end of the game was really the big glaring issue. He allowed that edge rusher to get in there within arm's reach and slap that ball out of CJ's hand. And when that happened, my heart sank because I was like, ah, shit.
Shit.
And then I realized that Mitch Trubisky's trotting out there because Josh Allen hadn't left the blue medical tent yet. So and then I got, as you were talking about, when he came back out there, I was like, okay, what are we doing here?
This is some bullshit.
Can we
That's
pick
that's literally. I'll tell you. That's what I said. It was this
Yeah.
some bullshit. Every other guy that I've seen get hit and head bounce off the ground like that, it's a wrap. Don't worry, he's not coming back.
Yeah. But as far as it goes, I mean, Blake Fisher, a pretty good outing for outing number one. The penalties were cleaned up. We had no penalties in the first half. I believe we had all of our we definitely had all of our penalties in the second half. But I believe, and I could be wrong here, it was like 6 or 7 penalties. One of them,
yeah,
6 or 7 penalties.
One was Blake Fisher's fault. One of them was he got charged with a legal blocker downfield on a pass play.
Okay.
He had scurried just a little bit past the line of scrimmage. But I'm gonna be honest, Titus, you might want to start looking over your shoulders. Because there's nothing that I can say that you just did better than Blake did today, and he's a rookie.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I've been saying this since he was drafted. He's not an insurance policy. He's a replacement for somebody. And my money is on Titus Howard because Laramie's got way more money than Titus Howard, and he's at least a top 15 pass blocker, if not better, in most games.
I said, Laramie has the skins on the wall.
Yeah.
You know what you have with Laramie. Yeah, the penalties and all of that, but he's still, I know as of today, before the game started, he's still number one in the league for pressures allowed.
Yeah.
You don't, if he's blocking you on the pass rush, you're not touching his quarterback.
Yeah. And again, that fact alone, I feel like makes Titus pretty movable here in the future. That might require some restructuring or whatever, but that's something to look forward to in the years to come because I think Blake Fisher will eventually play his way into this lineup. But beyond that, I mean, Cam Akers had a pretty solid day on the ground, 9 rushes, 42 yards, and a touchdown. Daria Gumbawale led the team in carries, 15 for 30. Stephon Diggs, leading receiver, 6 receptions on 8 targets for 82 yards. The touchdown went to Nico, who had 2 catches for 78 and a tutty. And then, I honestly feel like that interception that CJ threw, where the linebacker just kind of floated back into the zone and he didn't really see it coming. I can't remember who he was targeting. I think that might have been Diggs, but
it was Diggs.
That was probably the first interception. That was definitely the first interception this season where I was like, okay, that's on CJ.
Yeah, because they were triple covering Diggs.
Yeah.
You could tell in his head he made up his mind pre-snap, I'm going to Diggs, because he was not open.
No.
That's why Diggs wasn't. You saw Diggs after it. He was like,
yeah.
Bro,
why'd you throw that?
Yeah, why'd you throw it to me?
Yeah. And then a few times it felt like, Dalton Schultz had a pretty he's not lighting up the stat sheet, but he is coming through in the most crucial situations. I know that last drive before, I'm trying to figure out how this worked. It's like maybe like 2 or 3 drives before the end of the game, before we set up the Kaimi Fairbairn field goal. We're in the shadow of our own goalpost. I think at like the 3 or 4 yard line. It's 3rd down and 12, I think. And then CJ finds Dalton Schultz on like a 15-yard out. It was a perfectly placed ball. Dalton Schultz gets us the first down, moves the chains. That drive eats some clock, and I think is actually a pretty, even though we didn't score on that drive, it was a pretty influential drive because we moved the ball and were able to punt and flip the field and make it an incredibly tall task for the Bills to move down the field and get into scoring position. And it later set up the Later set up the Fairbairn field goal. So I
Yeah.
mean, huge
It's
drive. Dalton Schultz, hats off, sir.
he did completely what he was supposed to do. Now I wish he would have done it earlier,
Mm.
but even looking back into it, it's one of the things that came up before is CJ making Slowick look good as Slowick making CJ look good.
Yeah.
It's some of Tank's woes right now. It's on Slowick's play calling. I'm watching the routes that Tank is running. I'm like, they have no safety help over the top on Tank Dell with Stephon Diggs on the field and Nico on the sideline. The safety help is shielded towards Diggs' side. There's no. Why is Tank Dell running a 12-yard out?
Yeah.
You're making it easy on the defender. And Schultz, he's not getting involved. Like before those drives you said in the second half, I forgot Schultz was on the damn field.
Yeah.
He didn't even get targeted.
Yeah.
So I know some of that's going to be on CJ because it's your responsibility to get your guys involved. But the other's got to be on Slowick. And God bless. Chris isn't here with us tonight, but Chris said it himself. If I see one more goddamn jet sweep with Tank Dell, one more, it hasn't worked all year long. And it's no exaggeration to say we've ran it 15 times.
Yeah. And not necessarily just with Tank, but yeah, 15 times.
It worked once with Stephon Diggs. We've ran it with him like 6.
Yeah.
The person that it makes the most sense to do it with is Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Who has the size to do that and the speed. But nope, we're going to keep running with literally the smallest guy on the field.
Yeah.
Our kickers are moving. Our kicker is bigger than Tank Dell. And it's not all legs.
No.
But we keep running these.
Of course, based on that field goal at the end, it's probably all on his dick, but
yes, sir. Oh, they didn't even hesitate after the game. The player of the game, Kaimi didn't even walk towards the sideline.
No,
they raised their hands real quick. Hey, Kaimi, who you talk to?
Yeah.
Let's shift. He also, before I forget, Kaimi, to give him his flowers, he became the Texans' all-time leading scorer today.
Oh yeah. Hats off, brother. That's awesome.
And a lot of people are like, well, what does that mean? I was like, bro, you got to understand, he only scores 1s and 3s. And he's the Texans' all-time leading scorer. That's including quarterbacks, running backs, even that great guy, Andre Johnson. He has surpassed all of those just kicking.
Yeah.
And the guy's he's not even 30 yet.
No. And I think I said this on this AFC South show. Kaimi Fairbairn last season was like, it felt like the first year of his prime. Mm-hmm. And we're probably, looking at a 5, 6. Well, kickers have a pretty long prime. I mean, Adam Vinatieri was very effective until like 47 years old.
Yeah, till he walked off. He left the NFL still. They didn't cut him. He wasn't unemployed. He just said, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. I think his last season, he was actually like 49, 50. Mm-hmm. Like,
I feel like he was.
Yeah. I mean, homie was great. But let's shift the focus here to the defense, because we talked about this before we started. Hot and cold performance, the bend but don't break attitude.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, this has saved our lives. Saved us from being 2-3 right now. Obviously, last week we had that big Tank Bigsby run that Kalen Bullock runs and pushes him out at the 4. We have a goal line stand, holding them to no points, which was huge in the grand scheme of how that game worked. We had a very similar situation when CJ Stroud had the ball knocked out of his hands. They're already starting basically at the 21-yard line. Mitch Trubisky comes out, hands the ball off, and then Josh Allen comes back, and they start throwing the ball again. But the defense did not yield, allowed a field goal, I believe that's what tied the game.
How they say
And yeah, yeah. This is a team that for 2 weeks in a row now, 150 yards allowed on the ground collectively.
Mhm.
James Cook had a decent outing today. I think he had 20 carries for like 80 yards and some change, maybe. Definitely a touchdown. Josh Allen got out a few different times for some decent yards. So I mean, it wasn't necessarily that the running backs were just eating us alive, but um, it's a concern because the defensive interior. I don't think the A team is out there. I don't think the A team's gonna be out there until Danico gets back, until Kurt Heinisch is able to come in and spell Folo Fotokasi. Because honestly, Kurt Heinisch, he's not a pass rusher. He's a space-eating run stopper. Mario Edwards Jr. is not that.
No.
He is 100% a pass rushing defensive tackle. Khalil Davis, in the same vein, Tim Settle, kind of a little bit of both, but this today wasn't his best outing.
No,
And
like
there's a reason
what
that
it
he's
comes
never been him. Go ahead.
with these two guys, that main thing is all of these guys are how they say he ate a biscuit today is why he's a defensive tackle and not a defensive end.
Yeah.
Almost every even Danico Autry is still sort of in that same vein.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really the issue because I'm being honest, those guys are each of those guys that are playing in that role every week. We have one of them step up. 1 week is Tim Settle. Next week is Mario Edwards. We saw a little bit of Khalil Davis as well. Each of them have stepped up and done their part. And Fotokasi has done his job to an extent too, but I don't know what it is. It's the stat line doesn't show it because it still looks like James Cook had a great game. First half, James Cook he was eating our lunch. There was nothing we could do to stop him. Every time he touched the ball, he did what he wanted to. Second half, that stopped. That's why you said it's 20 rushes for like 80-something yards. A lot of people say, okay, that was a pretty good game. No, he had 50 at half.
Yeah.
And 50 on like 9 rushes.
Yeah.
So we like you said, bend but don't break. We locked up towards the end of where we started hitting them, but we've got to figure out something quicker.
Yeah. And you touched on it just there. The halftime adjustments were definitely huge, but we were up 17-3 coming out of half, and we kick a field goal to go up 20-3, and then Buffalo makes their comeback.
We took our foot off the gas.
Took the foot off the gas. The Keon Coleman touchdown, where his heel just barely avoids grazing the white line, and then his pinky toe may or may not have touched. They call it a touchdown at the end of the day, regardless. If you would have told me we will hold Josh Allen to 9 completions on 30 attempts, you take out Keon Coleman's 49-yard touchdown, then he's got 8 completions on 29 attempts for 90-ish yards.
We turned Josh Allen into Anthony Richardson today.
Yeah, but
that's exactly who he looks like.
Yeah, like really, really bad Anthony Richardson, not like what he looks like when he normally plays the Texans. I mean, like anytime he's played the Texans, I mean, like that first game last year, surprisingly tore up. Yeah, and then this last game through, it wasn't a great completion percentage, but he was able to take the top off the D. They weren't able to do that at all. The defense, I don't know what the game plan was per se, but Dalton Kincaid didn't get involved very often.
Nope.
They targeted him a bunch, but Azeez and Jalen Petrie held him and Dawson Knox in check the entire game. And as a team that's built like the mid 2000s Patriots with 2 tight ends, I mean, we're looking at we were able to completely shut down any and all offensive scheme that they had.
Completely nullified the tight ends.
Yeah,
nullified the tight ends.
And then when you take them out of the game, there's nothing they can do. Because Curtis Samuel, while he's an athlete, he can flat out run. Has not had a great season for any one team yet. He dropped a couple passes today. There was several passes that Josh Allen had an open guy and like one hopped it to him. because he was under constant pressure. We only got one sack, but there were a lot of pressures on him, including one pass that Josh Allen inexplicably was able to get away. But
Yeah, I'm still thinking that might have been an intentional grounding, but
yeah, well, he's not in a Texans uniform, so no, I'm just playing.
no, you're not. No, you're not. You're telling the complete truth.
No.
Oh, the refs had it out for us. I don't even say that very often, but that game looked
Yeah.
looked like Vegas got involved.
Yeah. Before the show, you wanted to give Aziz some flowers.
Yeah, that's like I said. Anybody that knows anything about sports, everybody knows about Michael Jordan's flu game. This was Aziz's flu game. Because let it be told by all reports and everything, he was sick. He wasn't faking. He didn't have a little bit of sniffles. It wasn't allergies. That man had the flu. But I think Aziz might have played his best game in a Texans uniform today. Without Aziz today, we lose this game. We definitely lose this game.
Yeah.
Because he kept Josh Allen in the pocket. And when it came down to making those changes on James Cook, Aziz was there. Hey, Curtis, how many tackles did Aziz finish with?
How many tackles did Aziz finish with?
Yeah, I just know I kept hearing his damn name all day, and I was like, yeah, that man is in there. And they were talking to the people around me and fans. I was like, y'all know he's sick, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, he needs to pass that sickness around to the rest of the team.
For real. Let's see. Tackles. He had a total of 8 tackles leading the team. Stingley was number 2, and then To'o at 3 was 6.
See? And at some point, they're going to have to put To'o back on the bench. God damn
it. There was only 1 sack awarded today, and that was Khalil Davis. Interestingly enough. Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson got a lot of pressures. Josh Allen was not comfortable in the pocket at all. And for the first 3 weeks of the season, this was a Bills team that offensive line was ranked number 1 in pass blocking as a unit. So, I mean, while we didn't get home a lot, this was a win today for the front four and the passing game. Running game, not so much, but yeah.
They were getting after him, making it uncomfortable for him. Like you said, he didn't get to set his feet very often. And even those times when he started to scramble, you know how quarterbacks get lucky enough to slide and get out of bounds?
Mm-hmm.
He felt it quite a few times. Like I said, the man's his head got dribbled off the ground on a rollout.
Yeah.
Now, when we all hear tomorrow with Josh Allen's talking about his concussion protocol issues and stuff, it's like, okay, so now you ask yourself, how the hell did he get back in that game?
Yeah. Yep. There's going to be some questions definitely directed at the medical staff if he's actually got a concussion. Mm-hmm. But also, Aziz was. It kind of felt like Aziz was doing his best Brian Urlacher impression, or like prime Ray Lewis, or I guess modern day Fred Warner, because I guess that's who he was the understudy to. But he is flourishing in this defense in a way that I don't think anybody really saw coming. We knew that he knew what he was coming into. We knew what he produced in Nashville, and we knew what he was able to do when Fred Warner was out. But this is elite level linebacker play. If he's got even you throw another 5 rating or a +5 rating to his catching, he's looking at 2 picks today.
He was Johnny on the spot. It's quite a few of those down there. The one they tried to go to Dalton Keene on the deep pass, and I saw the ball get blocked. I'm like, who the hell is that way the hell down the field? That's Aziz.
Yeah,
he's 40 yards off the line of scrimmage, chasing down a tight end, and he's there. He was in that man's pocket.
Flu game.
I love it. I love it. The thing, if Aziz constantly plays like that, he will never play for another team other than the Texans.
Yeah. Yep. And then someone else who's playing really good ball, Jalen Petrie.
Yep.
Also,
Quietly playing good ball.
quietly, yeah. I mean, he's gone into this role that he was doing a lot of at Baylor. They're using him as a dime linebacker, a nickel slot. He's up in the box a lot and matched up with tight ends quite frequently. And as we were just talking about, you didn't hear shit from the tight ends. I'm actually going to look up their stats real quick. If it'll, not take all day. Here we
Well, being
go.
the fact that Josh Allen only completed 9 passes, his
Well, I
tight ends
know.
might have one. His tight end
um,
might have one.
Dalton Kincaid had 2 catches for 34 yards on 6 targets. There wasn't even another tight end targeted today.
I
Yeah.
wonder.
2 catches.
And this is when the biggest offensive weapon they have at receiver didn't even play.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get into the tight end? Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
D'Amico, maybe we need to give D'Amico his flowers.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely knew exactly what to do to really stymie this Bills offense. If it weren't for, it feels like the last couple teams just kind of forgetting they can run the ball, or forgetting how to run the ball effectively after halftime, then we're looking at different outcomes. But for whatever reason, it's just not happening. They're not sticking with the run in important situations and asking to throw the ball. And Kamari Lassiter, outside of the one missed tackle on Keon Coleman, had a great day.
Keon Coleman is having a great season. I know there's not, unless he starts to get a little bit more interceptions, it's not going to be a lot of votes for him for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
You mean Lassiter?
Before Lassiter. Who did I say?
You said Keon Coleman.
Oh, see, my mouth's gonna fall off on that. Lassiter, he's not gonna get those votes for the defensive rookie of the year because he's not getting the interceptions. It's not flashy. It's not anything like that. But they don't catch on him very often.
No, and if they do, it's usually he's right there to make the tackle.
Yeah. When he's making tackling.
Yeah. And then, so obviously, we're awaiting the return of Christian Harris from the short-term IR. But when he comes back, how do you think he fits into this defense with Jalen Petrie being kind of a dime linebacker? Do you think he cuts into that role for Jalen Petrie and maybe Petrie's more back to the slot safety role? Or do you think Christian Harris kind of subs in for Aziz?
I don't think Aziz comes off the field. I don't. The thing about it is, this is one of those situations what they call good problems. You got to find a place to play these guys. Because like I said, Toto is playing great football. Aziz is playing like his hair's on fire. Christian Harris, we know who he is. He's a very, very good football player. But Jalen Petrie is having a renaissance year.
Yep.
His coverage on tight ends is unbelievable. And even he's not getting completely exposed by slot receivers anymore. The thing is I honestly believe it's Jimmy Ward that's going to continue to suffer, especially since he's not healthy. Because Eric Murray's playing like the guy that earns a paycheck.
Yeah.
And Kalen Bullock is your only real safety for deep threats. He's a free safety. He's a true free safety. He's the only one we have on our roster, if we really want to be honest.
Yeah. Realistically, yeah.
So our only person is Nelson is probably going to be the one that feels this the most.
Yeah.
And Nelson. Ward.
Yeah. Jimmy
Ward.
Yeah, you're thinking Steven, huh?
Yep, that bastard. Guy won't be quiet, even though he's unemployed. He will not stop.
Yeah. It's kind of what it feels like NFL players do now.
Yep.
They go unemployed and then they're like, I could be in the league right now. Looking at you, Cameron Newton.
if you would, you would. Just saying.
Truth. So look, We'll kind of pivot here a little bit and look forward to the Patriots game. It's in Foxborough. Um, we're obviously we haven't seen Joe Mixon since the Bears game. He didn't practice at all last week. Damian Pierce got 1 day of practice in.
Mm.
So just right now, in the moment, do you think we see any of them, either of those two running backs against the Patriots?
Uh, if we had to put a number on it, I'd say 60 to 70% that we see Damian Pierce. Maybe 30% chance that we see Nixon.
Okay. Okay.
But they're gonna have to figure out a way. Like I said, our boy got hurt today, British Brooks.
Mm,
So there is gonna be another running back spot open for a little bit. I don't know how many. Like Cam Akers at this point, you got to dress him out.
yeah.
Even if Damian Pierce and Mixon are both ready to go, you dress out Dare. Deserves to be there 100% because he saved us today.
Mhm.
Dare, Cam Akers has earned it to an extent only because he hasn't been horrible. We've seen worse.
Yes.
He has his flashes of good play. And Damian Pierce and Mixon are actually what we need back in our running game. The problem of it is with Akers, Dare and them is they're east to west guys. Our offensive line doesn't keep holes open that long. You need a north to south guy. That's what Mixon is. That's what Damian Pierce is. That's why Pierce is still on the team. It's because he is a north to south guy. He's not going to dance.
Nope. Nope. If we can ever get him to, read the field, I think he might be a complete back. But
Yeah.
he just it doesn't seem like it's what really happening at the moment. But last thing here, so we're 4-1 through 5 games.
Wow.
We're 2-0 in the division. We have a 2.5 game lead on the Colts because we have the head-to-head. The Jags, the Colts, and the Titans collectively have 4 wins. Who do you think at this moment has the most realistic shot of threatening us with the season, like as the season unfolds?
The same
If-
people I believed in the beginning of the season. It's still the Colts.
Okay.
Even with Flacco. Because they might be better with Flacco than they are with Anthony Richardson.
I don't think it's a might be. I think they are definitely better with Joe Flacco.
I'm just trying to be nice to that young man. I'm trying.
Look,
It's
you don't have to be. You don't have to be nice.
okay. So yeah, no, they are definitely better, and the coach is the only person that's not going to. Shane Steichen is the only person that's not going to come out and admit it. Everybody else is going to be like, well, Anthony Richardson really before he got hurt was he setting the world on fire?
Not really. Not really. And it's not like I feel like a lot of NFL fans, Colts fans particularly, feel like a lot of them feel as if, you draft somebody that high, number 4 overall. It doesn't matter what it is, you need to have that guy out there. He's not ready. Like he's still got some learning to do. He's going to be doing a lot of benefit will come to him from sitting on the sidelines and watching Joe Flacco.
Yep.
I think a lot of benefit came from him watching Gardner Minshew last year. Now, while Minshew is not necessarily the end all beat all of veteran leadership and showing you the right way to do things, there's a lot of games where Minshew's not the problem and he's doing everything he's being asked to do, delivering on target, hitting the passes that are open, getting people in scoring position, putting points on the board. Sometimes that is an issue for Anthony Richardson. One of the biggest things that helps him is the fact that he can run the damn ball
Yep.
very well.
But I can't read the defense. I have no idea what it is they're doing. Bet they can't catch me.
Yeah.
I bet they can't catch me.
Yeah.
When it comes to mentor quarterbacks, Gardner Minshew is a decent mentor quarterback. He's going to be a great mentor quarterback, being that any quarterback that's a backup that stays in the league for 14, 15 years, those are great mentors. That's why Josh McCown was being talked about as a head coach in a place that we're not going to talk about. That's why we've already said it. Case.
Yeah.
Case is a quarterback coach waiting to happen. I think that's what he's doing this year.
I mean, I would. I mean, shit, you're on IR. You ain't got nothing else going on.
But and that's because 14, 15-year-old career as a backup.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that's more impressive than the 14, 15 years of starter.
It can be.
Because 14, 15 years starter, there's your Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. Don't get me wrong, these guys are all Hall of Famers, every last one of them.
Yeah.
But they were always the starter. Their spot was secured when they showed up to camp.
Yeah.
They haven't had, I'm not trying to say they haven't had to fight for anything, but it's been a while.
Yeah. It's true.
So and that's my whole difference to why these guys might make better mentors. When it comes to basketball coaches, the guy that was the best basketball player definitely never makes the best coach. It's almost never.
Yeah.
Same thing could be said with football. If you had the arm that you could throw it all over the field, you could run you could do everything on the football field, you're probably not going to make a great coach because you're always going to be trying to put the guys that you're coaching into the, well, when I was playing, that's why John Elway works upstairs and not on the sideline.
Yep. Well, look, I think we've come to a good spot to go ahead and wrap this sucker up. Again, go ahead and head over to Mass 3 Productions and give him a like and subscribe on YouTube. Mike, I want to thank you for taking time out of your evening. Folks, I want to thank you for taking time out of your evenings to sit down and watch us talk a little bit of Texans ball. Again, Week 6 preview for the Patriots game. We will be going live. Chris should be with us that time. I believe we'll have, I can't remember what the guest is. It's either Drew Doherty or it's Harley Duggan of The Lead. And either way, we got two great guests. So be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss that. And also hit the notification bell so that when we do go live, you can join us at the very top. Without any further ado, be good people and go Texans.
Go Texans.